Oh boy. You know who's sick?
It's not you.
It's everyone in the audience. Because you're like, man, it's been so long since we last heard an episode of the season of Checkup OVA. You know, it's been a week, so we're just ill. We're sickened. We're in withdrawal. And we need more of that goodness. We need to feast.
Who doesn't?
People that aren't feasting.
Yeah, people who don't listen to us are wrong.
It's true. 5 out of 5 experts agree. If you don't listen to this podcast, you're wrong.
Is that me, you, Maxwell, Loki? Who's the fifth one?
Matt Mercer.
Matt Mercer. Thanks, Matt Mercer. You're a good dude. Also really, really attractive. It's kind of unfair.
I spit water on myself. We're good.
Good job. Good job.
I missed my computer by a lot, so it's pretty good. It's kind of wet. Hello, welcome. This is the seasonal anime checkup OVA episode number 46. It's the episode where we spit water on ourselves and have a grandiose time.
Get the vapors because of Matt Mercer.
Get the vapors because of Matt Mercer. I mean, clearly. I'm Jared, joined by the Road Warrior. And also Sick and Ladyem.
Hello.
You're a Road Warrior, but you're not of the Legion of Doom. That's a wrestling reference, which you're not going to get, but I'm going to pop someone in the audience there.
I got nothing, man.
Traveling what? You told me you traveled like over the weekend, just the weekend itself. Like
2,500 miles.
Which, holy shit.
And that's not even including the other 800 that I traveled to get down to Florida the first time.
You're living that independent pro wrestler lifestyle. With that travel.
I'm living the holy crap, I hate driving lifestyle, and I have to get another oil change.
It's sad. Also, it's sad when you hit the requirement for an oil change in just one trip.
Oh, it is. Actually, I got down there and I got an oil change, and then I have to get an oil change immediately now. I'm like, dang it.
You got to get that new oil where it's like, you don't have to change your oil for an entire year. Which, that's probably real bad. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, probably not.
Welcome to this podcast where we talk about oil. This is Car Talk, NPR's finest podcast, #1 on iTunes.
Oh my god. So yeah, I'm sick and I sound funny and I might be a little loopy, but we're going to ignore all that and pretend that I am totally fine and everybody's happy to hear me, right?
Everyone's always happy to hear you. What are you talking about?
All right. I'm glad to hear it.
So today we are going to talk about a film, a manga.
It is our conversations about anime, video games, and manga, but without the video games, it's just anime and manga, but it's the same topic.
That's why Al's the best podcast co-host, because she always bails me out when I forget the tagline. No joke. So yeah, we were talking about last week how with how Fire Emblem Warriors comes out on a Friday, we're not gonna have time to talk about this week, so we'll talk about that next week hopefully. But this week we're going to talk about one of Makoto Shinkai's former works, 5 centimeters per second, which we watched the film of and then found out that there was a book form, which I thought it was the light novel or novel version, whichever one, but it turns out it's the manga version. Which, granted, yeah. It works out I think a little bit better because that manga version definitely has a lot of differences compared to the movie itself.
Oh, totally. Although, if you're a good friend, guys, maybe you should inform your friends that it's a manga, because Jared was like, wow, that's a huge book. Why is it so huge?
And I opened up, like, there's a lot of pictures in this. Wow, this is weird.
The answer is because his friend Al forgot to tell him that it wasn't actually a book.
And I was very surprised that you're like, yeah, I finished up reading that. And I was like, holy, you finished that in a day? That's real quick, man. That was a fast read.
I'm a speed reader. Actually, that's true. I am a speed reader, but not that fast.
There is a light
absorb it through my brain.
Yeah, there is a light novel, but I don't know if it's out in English or not, but the film is, and the manga is, which you can go purchase, or you can watch the film on Crunchyroll if you have that.
Yep.
It has one of the dubs because the film has like two different dubs for some reason. But I think probably because this film came out in '07,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, like that's a time when anime was really on the down compared to how it is now and a few years prior to this. So licensing for anime and that sort of media at that time was just not great, probably. So it probably like got into the original licensee's hands and then fell out, and then another company comes in and relicenses it and redubs it because sure, we're gonna do that. Business.
But
But
the dub that's on there has our pal JYB.
it's true, which makes it real fun.
It does. And apparently Tara Platt was in it too.
Yep.
So we have
I guess that she was like briefly in the third act.
yeah. So you'd have what, Yu Narakami and Mitsuru Kirijo having a conversation here, maybe. Actually, they're not having a conversation. They don't talk to each other, but still. You get my point, you guys.
And then Saionji from Danganronpa 2 shows up in the second act.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's neato.
Or we could just call her Trucy Wright.
Oh, yeah, that's better. That's a character I like better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Trucy.
Round of applause, everyone. So the film is weird.
It is, and on a very basic level, it has some art issues.
Yeah, I mean, it is something from '07, which
Yeah.
it sounds weird that like something 10 years ago isn't that great, but like I feel like if you go back and watch a lot of stuff from just like the decade of the 2000s, like the art's not great. Like the 80s had its own style. You can tell something from the 90s. The 2000s is like this weird period where everything kind of there's good stuff out there, but a lot of it also just kind of feels generic in a way.
Yeah.
And then obviously nowadays everything's kind of it's changed again, and you can probably it's benefited from the HD era and everything. And like something from '07 is that borderline between everything going from SD to HD, so that probably also didn't help it.
It looks spotty at
Yeah.
points, and I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look good. But then there are other parts I'm like, oh, okay, that looks fine. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, like the backgrounds looked real good.
Oh, the backgrounds are beautiful.
Yeah. That was like the one big thing. The weird thing I think about this film in particular is that it's kind of set up like a lot of classic anime films were, where it was like, oh well, we're gonna put this out as like a handful of OVAs, and then eventually we'll condense these into its own film, which you saw
Yeah.
that a lot in the 80s and 90s particularly. But you don't really see that nowadays. Like if a film comes out, it's either like it's going to be original or it's going to be like a recap or something like that. Like usually it's not like chopped up a lot. I know like the newest Digimon films, they get chopped up I think after release. Like when they get brought out over to America, they're chopped up into episodes, but those are films I think in Japan, but usually you don't see this anymore. So it was kind of strange to see like, oh, this is basically 3 different episodes within this entire film. But I don't think it was like actually chopped up.
Mhm.
It was just like, this is just the way this thing is. There's 3 acts essentially. So yeah.
I was impressed by it though. I thought it was really neat to see it that way. And especially because it does kind of show like 3 different points of life.
Yeah. It's a good way of showing storytelling and all that, because you get, the main character when he's a kid, when he's in high school, and then when he's an adult.
Yep.
The 3 stages of life, that's it. Kid, high school,
Yeah.
adult.
There's nothing after that.
Nothing after that.
Nothing before it either. Infancy? What's that?
It doesn't exist. You just come out of the womb and you're like 7 years old.
Right. I'm pretty sure he's older than 7, but
It's true.
point stands.
So, we should talk about our main character and other main character, at least for
Okay.
Act 1. So our main protagonist is Takaki. He's the main dude. And he's in all 3 acts, and that's basically who you follow throughout the entirety of the film. And in episode 1, which they're basically chopped up in the episodes, he's in elementary school.
Yep.
And basically he befriends this girl named Akari, who is a transfer student, transfers in, and kind of helps her get along, like acclimating to the new area and everything, because he's been the transfer student before as well, so he kind of knows like the procedures and everything, and like how to, or where to go, how to get acclimated to this new school, new friends, yada 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 yada. And like they get closer, they become better friends, and of course that means like little kids are assholes.
Yeah,
Shocking,
they
I
all
know.
like tease them like, "Oh, you're dating.
You're going to get
Yay."
married. So yeah, little kids are jerks.
But also they're like baby kids, so.
Hey, baby kids can still be jerks.
Oh, I know. I'm saying that like they shouldn't worry about like if they're getting married or not
Right,
yet,
yeah.
because they are kids.
They're baby kids.
They're baby kids. But he's also like really defensive of her at that point.
Right. Because like she's like, they like the other kids like write this all over like the chalkboard and everything, and she's like kind of standing in the classroom herself, like soaking that all in, and like kind of horrified. And he like walks in, marches in, like just grabs her, and they run away. Like a tough guy, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Little kid tough guy.
One of my favorite things though is that they bond at first over like the library.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows a few times that like they would check out books and then like talk about them, and so she would check out a book and then he'd read it, and he'd check out a book and she'd read it, and then they'd talk about it, and they were saying like they had the same taste because they always got the same books.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really, really cute. I forget the reason why they're both in the library all the time, but he was super supportive, and so that's kind of like where they start getting along, is the library and through the reading.
But
before you move on, there is a
Pump in the
part
brake.
when they're in elementary school that it explains the title.
Yes.
It's very, very early in both the manga and the movie.
So like they're at there's this big tree. I think it's like around their school or something, or at their school.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like watching it, and she mentions like, "Oh, did you know that the rate at which cherry blossoms fall from trees is 5 centimeters per second?" That's the name of the movie.
It is. In case you didn't realize by now in this podcast
But
that is the name of it.
And also kind of becomes a recurring theme as well of like something being a measure of, you know, time and measurement and time.
Well, and you get like a throwback to it at one point with the snow, but that's at a different point.
But there's also something else, I think, in the second episode too, as well, that they mention like a speed.
They probably do.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, and you also find out that he wants to be an astronaut.
Pew!
Pew! Into space.
That's how you go to space. You just go pew!
I mean, I'm looking at a bag that I have from NASA. For some reason, it's in my floor in front of me, and
Does it say pew on it?
Well, the handle is over part of the words, so it just says "always exploring" as opposed to exploring.
I like always exploring better though.
Always exploring. It's good. Anyway.
So now everything is, you know, they all like, oh, it's all hunky dory. We're going to be friends. We get to be by our sides going into middle school. We're getting into the same middle school. I just punched my mic arm, so that probably sounded weird. But
it's like a death flag, but for their friendship.
Yeah. Akari has to move away.
Yup.
due to her
Just
parents' job.
transfer again.
Yeah, so she calls him in like by a payphone, which that really dates you of like where this is.
Hmm.
And like he's real upset by it, but they're like, "Oh, we're gonna write to each other and keep in contact like that," and blah 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 blah. So they eventually go their separate ways in middle school and all that stuff, but they're writing each other fairly often.
Yeah.
And then I think it's like right before he has to move again to someplace even further away.
Yep.
Like I think it's at the end of middle school.
I think so. It's they're older than when
Yeah.
they. It's at least a couple years.
They're like, let's meet up, and then before you have to move away and make this way too much harder of a difficult journey. So they decide to do this like on just like a random day, and it's like in the middle of March. So like you think, oh, it's gonna be spring, but then like it just starts heavily snowing because weather's a mother.
It is true. Weather sucks.
And like he has to like do all these trains and all that stuff, changing trains, all that jazz, and basically since it's snowing real bad, you know, the trains are getting delayed, and then getting delayed, and getting more delayed, to where, you know, like they're supposed to meet up at like 7 o'clock or something like that, and
I think it's 7:30.
And by the time it's like 7:30, he's still like ways away from getting there. So he's like, well, I'm already on this trip. I might as well see it out, even though she's probably not going to be there. I have this letter for her, and then it gets blown away by the wind.
Oh man, that was the first time I cried when this, because I have a bad problem of sympathy crying, and whenever I see anybody's chin start wobbling like they're gonna cry, I was like, oh no, 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 no. And so when his chin started doing it, I'm like, no, buddy. And so I cried a little bit here, but he just looked so devastated when his letter blew away.
Because that letter was like supposed to have like his actual feelings in it and all that jazz, and then it's gone.
And he said that it took him forever to write it because he couldn't find the right words, and so he put a lot of time and effort into it, and then it was just gone after he tried to get snacks.
Moral of the story: never get snacks.
It's true, never get snacks.
At least on a journey. But anyways, he finds. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think he ends up getting there at like either 10:30 or 11:30.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like he gets there real late. It's like you said, 10:30, 11:30, and he's basically prepared to like no one's gonna be there.
Yeah.
But he walks in like the lobby area of the station, and you can tell it's kind of like the countryside essentially, because like it doesn't look up to date or anything. Like there's just a heater, like like an actual fire like heater, just in like the middle there. But he also like she's sitting there. She's asleep because she's been waiting so long, but she's there waiting for him.
And she brought snacks. Snacks.
But then they have to leave the station because the dude's like, I gotta close, guys. You GTFO.
Yeah.
Get out of here, kids. Hoodlums. So like they leave, they go like just walk around the town where she lives now, and they kind of stop at this old tree and like they reminisce about the story that she told him, you know, about the 5 centimeters per second thing, and then they smooch.
It's their first kiss.
Yep. They got their smooch on.
And I think he says something in the movie, I can't remember if it's in the manga, where he says basically like he knew at that moment they'd never be together.
I don't think that's in the manga.
Yeah, it must be in the movie.
Or at least I don't remember it.
Either that or I'm hallucinating.
That could be true.
It could be true.
How Al remembers this movie while on medication.
Yeah.
They spend the night in like some just like abandoned shack, wrapped up in like a dirty blanket.
It smells.
Yep. And then like the morning comes and they have to go their separate ways because he has to go back home. And
you know, I always wondered like where her parents thought she was.
Yeah, right. Because I think she said she told her mom, or like she didn't tell her mom. Like
She told her mom that she was making the thingy, the snacks.
Yeah, and like her
mom's like, oh, it's for somebody you love.
Yeah, but like and also like this is like the early or like this is sometime in the 90s, so like there was no cell phones or anything, so
Right, like I would find it suspect if I was a mother and my middle school girl is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go make some snacks for somebody," and then like disappears and doesn't ever come home.
Or what about the dude?
Right. He also like just went missing for an entire night. Like, what? Who are these parents?
What are these
Why are you
parents?
such bad parents?
So he has to go home. Like they go their separate ways. Like she doesn't give him her letter either.
Mm-mm.
A lot of letters just don't get delivered. Mailmen would be very disappointed.
A lot of feelings just go unsaid.
Yep. And then basically he goes off on the train, and then that's it for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So we fast forward to high school, the end of high
No.
school,
Now we're in high school.
where Takaki is in. He's moved off to this other area where it has like a space center and all that jazz. So like you're thinking, okay, well he's probably getting the jump start on him wanting to be an astronaut. This is clearly the place he'd want to be. All that jazz. Things maybe not so great though.
Right?
Potentially. He's doing archery. He's not flying spaceships. Clearly not what you want. Also seems kind of distant.
Mm-hmm. And he's always like on his phone typing emails or texts, or I'm not sure which one, but
Yeah.
he's always doing that. And people are like, what is he doing? Does he have a girlfriend? He's so suspicious.
But we also meet our second main gal,
We do.
Kanae,
Nane.
and she's kind of infatuated with Takaki
And has been for a while.
and has been for a while. I don't remember if did the movie go into like how her feelings kind of came to be, or was that just like a manga thing?
I think it was just a manga thing.
So like she basically talks about like how they were in middle school together. They didn't talk though, but they eventually got paired up in like this cultural festival thingamajig, and like that's how they kind of became to know each other. And she's always had like this requited crush on him. Never told him about it though, but he's always just like head in the clouds essentially because he's off focused on something else and not necessarily looking her way.
Mm-hmm.
But she's bound and determined. She's gonna catch a wave and confess her feelings, because that's what you do. You go out surfing and then you're like, okay, well clearly I know how to do this one thing. I'm going to be able to do this other thing. Direct correlation, obviously.
Super direct correlation.
Super.
Mm-hmm.
But you basically learn throughout this episode that like we said, like he's very distant. Like he's different than what he was in the first episode. Like there's something in him that's kind of been lost.
Yeah, he seems a little hardened.
Mm-hmm. And Kanae is basically trying to figure out a way to like to make him notice her. But even though like they're hanging out, like going home together, it constantly seems to her like, okay, well, I'm trying hard, but there's got to be something I'm doing that will make him notice me. But each time, it just kind of falls short. And then this is where like, this is the thing where like they also reference like the speed measurement is when they're driving home and like it starts raining, and they have to wait at like the train stop.
Oh, right.
There's another one where like they reference like a measurement of speed, because that makes him flash back to like when he first heard like 5 centimeters per second.
I forgot about that one.
I don't remember that one because it was in the manga, which I read recently. So
Nice.
But yeah, like that's another point of time when they do that. But yeah, they're basically kind of like waiting for this train, which has like all these space parts on it, because like there's a launch that's going to happen real soon on the island. And
It's JAXA, right?
JAXA.
JAXA. It's Japan's version of NASA. They're JAXA.
I don't remember if that's how it was in the.
I mean, that's the real life equivalent.
It was like probably like a parody version of it though. But yeah, essentially you're correct. But the episode kind of just goes on, and then eventually she catches her wave. She's going to confess to him, but but she kind of like she doesn't go through with it, but also kind of like has that realization like, oh, he's never gonna see me in that way. He's never gonna look at me in that way. He clearly has like either someone else or something else on his mind, in his vision, in his head, and I'm clearly not gonna be that person.
Also worth mentioning at this point that all the messages that he's been typing out on his phone that she keeps seeing, he never actually sends.
Right. He's like he'll like write up something and then like they'll come up like save draft and be like no, 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 because basically him and Akari have kind of fallen out of touch.
Yep.
Which they basically kind of talk about is like, oh, that sort of thing just happens. Like, you know, you're writing to someone that you haven't seen in a while, but eventually, you know, what's there to talk about? How can I talk about these people they don't know? And then eventually the letters just stop coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the communication stops. So that's basically kind of what happens. And he's always, I guess, kind of trying to figure out a way to like reestablish communication, but just never goes through with it. Which is what you said.
It's a bummer, you guys.
Yeah. And then she basically has her realization while they're walking home, and then like the launch happens.
Mm-hmm.
And they see that, and then basically she just goes home and is like, well, that sucks. I'm going to go cry now.
And she cries all night.
Yep. And that's basically the end of episode 2.
And then 3 is where the manga and the movie diverge a lot.
Yeah. I think we'll talk about the manga like afterwards, but yeah, like episode 3, especially just because like it's a short wrap up in the film specifically.
Yeah.
Because not a lot happens, and like it's basically just like, here's a resolution. Here you go. So now it is the present day, I guess. This wiki says it's 2008, even though this film came out in 2007. So basically, present day. We'll just go with that. Yeah. Takaki's an adult. He's working in Tokyo. All this stuff. He has had a girlfriend. Had. Basically, we see her for like a hot second, and then like she's never acknowledged again.
Nope.
But a lot of it is basically like him as an adult coming to terms with like his childhood feelings for Akari, and like how there was never like a resolution for them, and how he's kind of like held on to them as this baggage for years and years, and never found a way to like come to terms with them or cope with them or anything like that. And also you kind of see like this is reintroduces her as well as an adult. Mm-hmm. You don't really see much of her. Like you basically see like, oh, she's engaged or married, and she's moved on essentially.
Yeah, she's planning her wedding. I think you see her like very, very briefly talking to her parents. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's engaged.
And then also she talks about like having like a dream about him.
Yep.
Which obviously that's the point in time like we're gonna have them like briefly see each other, and then they'll be like, oh no, we're moving in opposite directions.
Which he has done
yep.
in
another film of his.
This one didn't end as well as the last one though, or the most recent one.
Yeah, like they have that happen, and then like some like I think time kind of passes again, and then they're walking down a road and they pass each other, and they basically pass each other across the train tracks, mm-hmm. and they both kind of realize who it is, and like they turn back to look, but like there's a train going by. But then by the time the train's gone, like they're both kind of going off in their separate directions. Like he doesn't look back to see if it's her, and I think she's gone by that point.
Well, at the end, what happens is she's gone, and he sees that she's gone, so then he turns and leaves.
Right.
And I guess you mentioned, I can't remember if you mentioned it because I'm, but it's a callback to their elementary school days.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Where they did turn and see each other, and they were happy. But yeah, so it's like you said, it's her moving, or she's moved on, and he has to move on.
Right.
Is what's happening there, because he did look back and she wasn't there, so he's like, well, okay then, that's that.
Which that is essentially the resolution for him, is that like, she's not gonna come back for me, even if like, this happenstance chance meeting is gonna happen. Like she has her own life now. She's doing her own thing. Like, this is the point where I need to move on finally.
Yeah.
Which essentially that's kind of like what the end of the film kind of tries to tell you, even though I don't know. I guess it works, but it feels just kind of like it's there.
Yeah.
A lot of like the third act is just it's there for the sake of being there.
It's not as strong in the movie as it is in the manga,
Yeah.
but
it does seem just weird that like the way the third act just kind of abruptly plays out and wraps up, that you would think there should be more there.
Yeah.
But there's
so.
not. And that's a strange thing. Which brings us, I think, to the manga.
Yeah.
Which I think we were kind of talking about this, like at least I was asking you about this, of like, okay, so why is there such a difference between the movie and the manga? Like, was all of the stuff in the manga planned out originally for the movie and they had to cut it for, time, space, all sorts of other reasons, etc.? Or like what causes like such a difference between these two forms of media?
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the biggest thing is that the manga came out 3 years after the fact.
Okay, yeah, that fitting. That makes sense.
Which I think that is a big reason.
Big reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because especially the manga really expands upon the story in a way that the movie doesn't.
Yes.
And I don't know if that was just because like, having 3 years in between the film and then this manga adaptation was like, okay, maybe we need to work on this and figure out a better way to end this, or like add more story to this to make it, seem more of a complete story. Like, I don't know if like that's a factor or anything like that, but yeah, there is, if you read the manga like after watching the movie, like you'll be like, oh wow, there is so much more stuff to this. Like,
and that's what we both did.
Yeah, like even in the first act, especially, like there's more to it. Like you see more of like their younger selves. You see a little bit more of like their middle school selves. Like there's just so much more that's added on into that story specifically. I think the second act is a little bit more of the same.
Yeah.
Like there's a few things here and there I think they add in, but for the most part, like that part
it's pretty similar.
It's pretty similar. Like there's not a lot of changes to that, which is fine.
Yeah.
For that part particularly. The third act is where it kind of just goes in a completely different direction. Like it keeps the same framework of the movie and everything and the way the story is, but it adds in another layer of like, okay, so you see Takaki's like the girl he was dating at one point and then basically breaks up with in the film.
Yes.
And like you basically briefly see her, you see her like get like not getting any reactions from him and kind of like, oh, that's it for them, blah blah blah, and that's it. Like you basically no backstory for her or like what the relationship was or anything like that. In the manga, they go way into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like way more so, and it was very surprising to like, okay, so you're gonna learn, how long they've been dating, how they met, what their relationship is like. And I think it really does a good job of like expanding, especially for this third act, expanding upon why he has been so kind of like destitute and down in the dumps, and why the way he is in the movie specifically, because like it all kind of comes to a head when like they have like this bad breakup where he's like, I'm gonna take you to my hometown, and then whoops, I'm just gonna leave you there.
Well, it wasn't the hometown. It was where
oh right,
they met
yeah,
with the tree.
Yeah.
So he didn't take her to the hometown, but he took her to where he got his first kiss and like fell in love for the first time, and like, whoa, buddy, and then like left her there.
Which I think for him was kind of like, this was his way of finally literally coming to terms with that and like facing it head on. And then like eventually, like once he got there, he couldn't handle
Couldn't do it. Yeah.
And then like, she basically leaves him a voicemail, which they address a little bit later in the chapter or in that act. But then like he like I think the next thing you see is like him coming to get his stuff from her house.
Yeah.
And then they basically just have like this 1-to-1, like he just kind of like literally finally opens up to her, which is bad because they've been dating for like what 3 years at that point.
Yeah, it's like a 3-year relationship, and this is the first time she's ever like gotten the backstory, I guess.
So like he finally kind of like tells her everything of like why he is the way he is, like why he's been like so like I guess emotionally stunted for years and years. And it's because of like this relationship I had and how I could never get past it and all that jazz. And like I think that's a really good thing for like that character specifically because because in the movie you never hear him address it really.
No.
You get that scene at the end and that's basically supposed to be him coming to terms with everything. But this like it really does a deep dive into like the character and just how he's been feeling for the years and years. And I think having him have that moment really makes the movie ending a little bit better.
I agree. I mean, it gives a little bit more impact because you've seen how negatively it's affected him like all this time. And it's not just like, oh no, this guy lives in an apartment by himself and he smokes and his job's kind of weird. Like,
which even like that stuff they go in more into because like, you know, he talks about like, oh, I'm going to quit my job because like in this group I'm in, I'm basically the only one doing work. The group leader is kind of an asshole, and I'm just it's not a fulfilling job. It's not what I wanted to do with my life. Like I wanted to find something that I actually want to take pleasure in doing. I want to find a job that I enjoy going and doing.
And it's part of why there was the initial like issue with the girlfriend was because she wanted him to meet the parents, and he's like, I can't. I don't have a job. So I think she at first thought like it was too much too fast and he was freaking out, but that wasn't actually the case at all.
Especially when you're dating for 3 years. Like, I don't think that's necessarily like, oh, let's meet her. I want to have you meet my parents after 3 years. Like, that's not really that much too fast. And especially because she's like, hey, I'm okay with you quitting your job. Like, I've been worried about your health. Like, I feel like you've been overworking and like, you just haven't been yourself lately. Like, I'm glad I know, like, you know, quitting your job's like rough and everything, but I'm glad you're doing it for the sake of yourself. And I feel like, you know, if they'd went through and like, you know, he'd met her parents and everything, like, you know, that's something easily explainable. It's not necessarily the end of the world that, you know, he's unemployed at the moment.
Right.
But he has all this other, like, all these other issues that he's been dealing with that he's never had to deal with before, really, or had figured out a way to deal with, and that basically just like compounds the situation to make it just a worse situation than it needed to be.
Yeah. I think it really does lead itself to a bit more of a like tragedy. I mean, it's not like a super tragic story, but
this is a Shakespeare tragedy.
It's not that bad, but it's you know, he's had this relationship that he started in elementary school and it's negatively impacted him so far into adulthood and he can't get past it. That's sad.
Yeah. It makes me feel for his character way more than the movie did by the end of it. Because I think because the way like we've been talking about, like the movie just doesn't make him sympathetic at the end. It just kind of, it never shows him dealing with it. It just shows him at the end like, oh, well, she's moved on, so clearly now I can move on. Yay.
Yeah.
That's not how things work.
It's kind of a like shallow ending,
Yeah.
even though like it made me a little emotional because I'm an emotional weirdo. The way that it was handled in the manga is way less like superficial and like, oh, okay, well, it's over now, dude.
Yeah, it makes him more sympathetic. It gives him reasons to actually move on.
Yeah, he has a more he has a bigger sense of depth.
Yeah.
In the manga. I can't find my words tonight.
It's fine. You are medicated.
They're all floating in the abyss, and I'm like, hey, that's the word I'm looking for, and then it's like ant.
It's not like earlier where I thought you didn't understand the word archery, but it was like the Japanese word for archery, and I was like, Do you not know the word for archery? Are you okay? Uh, but also, like, a big thing that the manga does is it gives you an epilogue.
It does, and that is very, very different.
So you could basically go back to the island from the second arc or second act, and you meet back up with Kane, and like you find out what she's been doing like as an adult now, and see where her life is. Which is, in a way, it's kind of similar to how Takaki's is. Is like, well, like she's single, she really doesn't know what she wants to do with her life. She's basically also kind of fighting with this idea of being on this island for her entire life, which I think that's a common thing for a lot of people who grow up in like small towns and everything. Is like, am I going to be stuck in this area for the rest of my life? Am I never going to be able to get out of it?
Relatable.
Yeah. So like I really thought that was an interesting direction to take her, and then also have like this random surfer dude that she kind of hangs around with.
That
Like,
a little hunky surfer dude that she's befriended.
and he's just like, hey, why don't you go out with me, huh? But also, like, she kind of also has like the same situation that Taki has, where she's never gotten over him.
Yeah.
And like never like really tried to, deal with that or kind of face that head on. And she has to deal with that her own way as well. Which is basically like she kind of talks to that dude again, like later on in the epilogue, and it's like, look, it's cool that you want to date me and everything, but like I literally can't, because I don't know how to handle that. Like, I have like this other thing, and I've never dealt with that. So like I should probably go try and find him.
Yeah, and despite the fact that like he does say like, hey, you should date me, like he was really cool about her going and figuring it all out. So I was like, that's a pretty stand-up guy thing to do. Like he was supportive of her as a friend trying to figure it out, even though he also wanted to date her.
Yeah, like that's totally good guy move.
Yeah, it showed that he really valued her as a person and cared what she felt as well. And it's crazy because he's there for like 2 pages.
Right, like he's not really like there much within the epilogue itself. Like he kind of shows up a little bit, but he's not really like fleshed out as a character or anything like that. But you still get like a good sense of like what his character probably is.
Yeah, who he would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while she's dealing with like her sister having a bunch of kids and just too many kids in general.
She's a nurse, isn't she?
Yeah, like it's yeah. I couldn't remember if she's like an actual nurse or like a nurse in training.
She might be a nurse in training.
But yeah, that's basically what she's been doing. But she also comes up with a plan to go to Tokyo, find Takaki, which they also figure out is like super difficult because they basically don't know where he lives. Like he never goes to class reunions, which relatable.
Yeah.
And also like there's like, okay, well, we have no records of like where he is. Eventually they find like his parents and like they give him like, or they give them an address and everything. And
a cell phone number.
Yeah, and she goes to Tokyo.
Which they have cell phones at this point. Yay, guys,
They do.
we've upgraded.
It's the present day. Thank you. Cell phones have finally been invented. But yeah, she basically goes to Tokyo. This is like, I mean, this is the first time I think she's been, essentially.
Yeah, and she's really overwhelmed.
Yeah, it's, I mean, going from small town to like the big city, which it is the big city there.
Yeah.
There's a huge culture shock. And she's like, she basically like kind of runs around, tries to figure out where he is, isn't really successful, and like goes to this park and like calls up the dude who asked her out, and she's like, I don't know if I could be here. Like, there's so much going on. Like, my mind's going 120 miles an hour, and like I just can't keep up. But also, he's just like, if you were there for like a couple days, you'd probably get used to it. And she's like, yeah, probably. So like she kind of talks about going back, but also kind of like just staying there for like another day or something, and just trying to see if she could find him. And then like she hangs up the phone, and like the last couple of frames you see is like a pulled out shot of her on the bench, and like you see like basically legs like in the foreground. Yeah. And then like they kind of turn, and like I think the last like frame is like her like kind of like shocked.
Yeah.
So clearly we have no idea what happened.
But the
The implication is that like she found Takagi there.
Yeah, or he stumbled upon her.
Yeah, it's another chance meeting.
So, I like to believe that the two of them talked it out and figure out that they can work out their issues and end up together, because that makes me happy.
If I mean, like, yeah, like I would be okay with that, or like they become,
Or just be friends and
yeah,
like figure it out together. Like, hey, we have weird issues with
yeah,
past relationships. Maybe if we become friends and support system, we can get through this together.
yeah, which
And that'd be radical too. I
yeah,
support them as both friends and as a relationship. Either way, I would be happy.
radio.
Yeah.
Which like yeah, I think I like that as like a good little like cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And also, like, I think that's just a way better ending than what you get from the movie.
Oh, 1,000% better ending. Like, I can't even describe to you how much of a better ending it is. Like, there's probably a phrase that I should put into words here, but I don't know what it is. But it's better.
Especially because, like, in terms of adaptations, like,
yeah,
you know, we've seen often where, you know, you take something, go to another form of media, and it can just fall apart, or it's just like a copycat clone of it, or if they try to change stuff with it, you know, it doesn't work. But with this, like, you know, like we said when we introduced this, like, I don't know if it was just the amount of time in between the two works or what, but just the manga just works so much better.
It really, really does. And I read it before you. I was like, yeah, you have to read this now. Like, you have to read it. I'm glad you did.
I'm glad I did too, because I mean, I read the first chapter, and like that was just like enough for me to be like, okay, clearly this has a lot more to it substantially than the anime did. So that's exciting in and of itself. And I didn't know exactly like how far it went afterwards until like I just like kind of blazed through the entirety of it, you know, a couple nights ago, and was like, wow, this totally just goes in completely different directions. It introduces other characters, gives them motivations, characterization, and just completely adds to the film and the story in ways that certainly helped. And the art's better. I think that helps too.
The art is better. So I guess I don't know if this matters, but while I did like the movie, I would definitely recommend people read the manga instead.
I would completely agree with you.
You just get a lot more of a story there, and it has a lot more of an impact.
Right. Like, I think you kind of... I mean, I guess like the manga itself can't stand alone.
Mm-hmm. It can't.
I think if you do watch and read both, like you'll definitely get more out of that. Especially the manga specifically, you'll get more out of that. But if you really wanted to, you know, ingest the story and understand it, like, and you only had one way to do it, like, yeah, the manga is clearly the way to go.
But also just do both if you can.
Yeah. Like we said, it is on it's on Crunchyroll if you have that. And if not, it's like what, $6 a month. And it might just be free on their side as well with ads. I don't know. The Blu-ray is a little bit more expensive. It's like $20 still. So that's
JYP.
Yeah. The manga is also around $20 though, but it's worth it if you can get your hands on it. I don't think the novelization was ever translated and brought out over here.
Yeah, that's what you were saying earlier. I don't actually know the answer to that.
I'm looking on Amazon right now, and I don't see it.
So that's probably not.
Yeah. Oh, well. Because there was, I think, on this Wikipedia page, let me see. There's like you know, the Your Name has like a different version of it, of the novel. There was another one for these as well, but that was released in like 2011.
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't really tell you what it's about. It's just like, hey, there was another version of the novel. It was out in 2011, and then it was by a different author who wrote books on other films of Shinkai's. So yeah, maybe he just took all the stuff from the manga and added it to like a novelization of version. I don't know. Could be. Who knows? But anyways, yeah, like go read the manga of this. Probably the best thing.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Don't be surprised that it's very big. It's very thick. You could beat someone up with it.
It would be a good weapon in Shadow Hearts.
That's a good callback.
But you could go listen to our Shadow Hearts episode.
I mean, you could watch it too. It's just not going to be very entertaining.
It's not going to be very entertaining. It's
watching
just
a progress bar.
Yep.
Do you have anything else you want to say, or are you ready to pass out?
I am sorry that I am so dang loopy, my friends. I've tried my best, and this is what you got. So, finger guns. At least I showed up, right?
Hey, that's true.
I did my best, you all. I've had a tough week, so
there was the possibility that you were not going to be here. That's my alarm going off.
Yeah. So please forgive me for being ill and also loopy, but this is a great series.
Yeah.
And I was real hyped to talk about it because I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, too. That's true as well. Like, it was very good, and I'm glad you were able to come on and talk about it, even though you were very sick and also like very questionable whether you were going to make it or not.
Yeah. Finger guns.
I went to take my pill, and it got stuck in between my like lip and my gum, and that felt real weird.
Ugh.
Anyways, that's gonna do it for this episode. So if you want more information from us, go to seasonalanicheckup.com or sac.cool for past episodes of this very podcast. Other podcasts on there as well, like the Seasonal Anime Checkup and Jared and Al watch Sailor Moon Crystal, which episodes are continuing each week, Wednesdays, 3 p.m., even though I completely always forget that they go up Wednesdays at 3 p.m., because I'm a bad person.
And they're so fun.
They are. We are also, I mean, we're winding down on episodes.
Yeah.
I think there's like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 6 more weeks of that until we have to start watching again and talking about it. I think like our episodes are going to wind out around the time that season 3 comes out.
Oh, snap.
So that'll be beneficial when we start talking about season 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should go check those out. Check out our past episodes of this podcast, like the episode we did on Your Name, which is also a film by Makoto Shinkai, which has various other forms of media as well.
And they're awesome.
You can check out Ann Ladyem at annladyem.com. She has columns and reviews up on her site, which you can go read because they're very good.
Thank you.
You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. It's a place to keep in contact with us, figure out what we're doing, and also just a place where we can post dumb stuff. Because that's always fun. And a place
where you can wish me to feel better.
It's true. Tweet at Anime Checkup and wish Al to feel better.
Let Al rest.
Which hopefully by the time this comes out, you'll feel better.
I hope so.
You can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. If you're so inclined to do so, which would be very cool if you did. If not, it's also very cool.
You're the best, guys. Thank you for listening to us.
Remember, if you're not listening, you're a bad person.
It's true. And I mean, who wants to be a bad person?
No one.
Nobody.
No one.
So thus you need to be listening.
Next week, we are most likely going to be talking about Fire Emblem Warriors.
Yep.
Which I've basically played through already because you've been busy and literally have not had time to play. But meanwhile, I'm over here just pounding my way through it. Which I guess I'll give you a brief review because I don't want to give away all the stuff we talk about next week. As someone who has never really got into the Fire Emblem series because I'm awful at strategy RPGs and like I just don't get them. Even though like Heroes was a different thing, but that was just something else entirely. I really like Fire Emblem Warriors. Like I think it's finally a way for me to like actually kind of get to know those characters, interact with them, and see them also just interact with other characters from the Fire Emblem universe. Sure, we'll go with that. And also, like, I don't know, like,
Kill 2,000 dudes?
yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's a
that's
pretty
what the
good one of
Warriors
those
games are
games.
about. I love Warriors games.
And like, I think there's also just like a lot to that game as well. Like, there's the story mode's fine. Like, it's better than the hero story, which obviously it's not really that
Don't
hard.
spoil too much.
I'm not, but like, there's also, you know, like there's a like a heroic mode or like classic mode where you gotta go like through the like a certain scene from one of the games, and that gives you just more stuff to do. So like, there's a lot to that game in ways that you wouldn't expect. So yeah,
look forward to that, guys.
yeah, look forward to that. That'll hopefully be next week, and then we will just talk about flinging a bunch of dudes up in the air and watching the numbers go up.
Yes.
Fire Emblem Warriors. Still no Tokyo Mirage Sessions DLC though, which is the most disappointing. 0 out of 10, not recommended.
Correct.